Devils that get in this bed, slaughter. Now they shook from vicious words out this handed book. About to take these rappers back to school. My flow standing hook. They crossed the line, ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. The only thing sweet is the honey jet. Righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow. And hand down death for them devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in a badge. I see horns in a pitchfork. So please believe it. The white man is a demon. And I ain't gonna vote for them to free me. No, they beat us till we. They got a cover the slightest knife till they broke like ceiling. You got this nigga on his knees. They wanna have peace. You see me let this bitch burn at 1,000 degrees. My man in the bosom of revenge. I told her I do anything she please. And I squeeze on the double D's. Fuck you man. I'm talking to him. That thing do not run. And feel the world ain't down for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. I'm talking to you. So war for your life. Challenge for my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta heal, let them heal. Till the devils that get in this bed. Slaughter.
The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got me cancer. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking...
Shalom, Israel. We're at ISUPK, start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohanan. And we're not affiliated with any other Israelite group on the planet. All right, we're located here, 5261 Delmar Boulevard, Suite A, St. Louis, Missouri, 63108. All right, we have 2 call-in numbers for the class tonight. First call-in number is 712-832-8330, and the second call-in number is 425-436-6260. All right. PIN number for both call-in lines is 825-1636. All right. We have classes here at this location every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right. Let's see. This and every Sunday we have Sharpen the Sword Radio with Captain DeGaulle Gabar, the most controversial radio show to ever hit the city of St. Louis. All right. And the call-in number for that is 832-83-SLOCKY. It's 712-832-8330. And the PIN for that is 910-1409. All right. Next Friday, March 5th, we'll be having a food drive right outside of the school here at 5261 Delmar Boulevard. And make sure you got your back seats or your trunks cleared out so we can go ahead and fill up your car. I mean, trust me, when you get here, you will have enough food, for at least a week or two. And it's always good quality food. Like we have, usually it's like an organic beef. You got your chicken, your lean meats. You got your fresh fruits and vegetables, and then you even have your non-perishable items for you to, keep in storage just in case, anything happens, right? All right, and again, that's coming up on March 5th, right here, 5261 Delmar Boulevard, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. All right. Got any more announcements? All right. Tonight is the second night and the closing night of the Feast of Purim, right? Let's go back before and see where all this started, right? Get the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 3, right? Because, we know that all the events for the Feast of Purim happened in Esther, but there was an event that happened prior to this that changed the course of events over time. If you don't follow the Most High's orders, there's always a problem that comes with it after. Right now, if it comes immediately or if it comes later, you don't know. But whatever you do, when it goes against the will of the Most High, it's going to come back. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek.
All right.
And utterly destroy all that they have.
Keep going.
And spare them not.
Right.
But slay both man and woman.
Okay.
Infant and suckling. Ox and sheep. Camel and ass.
The Most High is telling King Saul to destroy everything living and breathing in Amalek.
Right.
Men, women, children, every animal, anything that walks or has its own language, it needs to be dead. Right? Keep going.
Verse 4. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Talem, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah.
All right, so this is, King Saul getting his army together. He's getting ready to go down there. Keep going.
Verse 5. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley.
Right, so he's setting up an ambush, right? He set his camp. He's got an ambush in case anybody tries to flee or leave the city. He's getting ready to go to war, right? Go ahead.
And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites.
Right, so he's talking to another nation of people, the Kenites, and he said, look, you need to go lead. You need to remove yourself from Amalek. Because what's about to happen to Amalek, you do not want to be here for. Right. So get out of our way. Right? Keep going.
Lest I destroy you with them.
He is under order to destroy everything breathing.
Right.
Now you not an Amalekite. I don't have the order to destroy you. But if you in the way and if you around, you getting it too. All right, keep going.
For ye shewed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt.
See, this is we did this because you showed kindness to us. We didn't have to even give you this warning that we coming in here to invade.
Right.
But you showed kindness to us. So because you showed kindness, we're going to give you a free pass. Let's go ahead and walk on out. Keep reading.
So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites.
Because these people have heard Israel's reputation. They've heard what happens when Israel rolls through and is coming to go to war with you. Everything is destroyed. With the Most High on our side, there's nothing that can stand in our way.
Yeah, right.
Right, keep going.
Verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur.
Right.
That is over against Egypt.
So it says that he smote all of them from basically all of their land. So this is describing the borders of Amalek's land, right? He went from one side of their land to the other side of their land, killing everybody there, right? Keep going.
And he took, is it Agag?
Agag,
the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroy all the people with the edge of the sword.
Right. It says he took the king and then destroyed all the people. Right. Keep reading.
Verse 9, but Saul and the people spared Agag.
See, right here is where he messed up. Now he destroyed all the people, and he kept the king. Right? Keep reading.
And the best of the sheep.
See, he was told to destroy all of the cattle.
Right.
The sheep is a type of cattle, but he saw the ones that he liked, and he said, "Keep those. Destroy all the unfit ones." Keep going.
And of the oxen. And of the fatlings.
Right.
And the lambs. And all that was good.
Go ahead.
And would not utterly destroy them.
Keep reading.
But everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly.
So everything he deemed to be trash or worthless, they destroyed.
Right.
But if he saw value in it, he kept it. Right. Now, logically, this would make sense, right? But he is under a direct order from the Most High God. A prophet of God came to him and told him to destroy all that you find there. And he chose to do something else.
Right.
All right? And again, that king's name was Agag, right? Now we get in the book of Esther. The book of Esther start at the 3rd chapter, the 1st verse. Right? So now, yesterday we went over with the beginning of the Feast of Purim. We went over the biggest parts of it so we can understand where the holiday comes from, where the High Holy Day comes from, right? But right now we're going to get into smaller details because this covers the entire book of Esther, right? Teaching an entire book in one class is not a thing, right? You're going to have to skip some things. So what we're going to focus on today are smaller details, right? So we see that Saul had a direct order from the Most High, which he chose not to follow. All right, let's see what the ramifications of that order is. Go ahead.
Esther chapter 3, verse 1. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of the Hammedatha.
Right.
The Agagite.
The what?
The Agagite.
The what?
The Agagite.
That means he is the son of Agag.
Right.
See, that King Saul spared is the forefather of Haman. Mm-hmm. The one who set in motion a plan to destroy all the children of Israel.
Right.
See, when you don't follow orders, your children suffer. You suffer as well. You will suffer. Your children suffer. Your entire nation will suffer. Right. If you choose not to follow the orders of the Most High. Right? Hop down to verse 5. Right? So the king gave him, a great position, and he was second only to the king in all of Persia and Media, and he expected every man to bow to him. The king said that, everyone should bow to him. He expected everyone to bow to him. Right? Go ahead and read that verse.
Esther chapter 3, verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not,
right,
nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Right, so Haman, like I said, a typical Edomite, he expects to be reverenced and bowed to by everyone around him. And when this man would not bow to him, it filled him with the greatest fury that you could ever imagine, right? He felt utterly and completely disrespected, right? And keep reading. This led him to make unwise decisions. And this also should show you as well. Not only is not following an order have consequences, but when you start to think emotionally, those have negative consequences as well, right? Go ahead and read.
Verse 6. And he thought scorned to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
So he had in his mind that he was going to lay hands on Mordecai and deal with him, right? Keep reading.
For they had shewed him the people of Mordecai.
Now the other people who had egged Haman up and told him about this man who wouldn't bow to him, started telling him about the people of Mordecai, right? The nation of Israel that they had under their subjection. So they started telling him about him. Go ahead.
Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
So he was so filled with fury and thinking so emotionally that logically, if one man slights you, you deal with that man, right? But when you get emotional, you just want to destroy everything that looks like them, right? You want to just destroy the entire memory of a slight that is. He didn't bow. He didn't disrespect him. He didn't say anything to him. He just did not bow to him. The simple act of not kneeling before an Edomite will cause them to want the death of you and everything that you know. Right? Let's see what we got.
Verse 7.
Up down to verse 12.
Esther chapter 3, verse 12.
Then we got what again?
12.
No, before that. 7? Yeah, read 7. Slovakia.
Esther chapter 3, verse 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast Purim, that is the lot.
So they were casting lots. They were making bids. They were trying to win the opportunity to be able to do this act to help Haman. You know what I mean? They were trying to bid on a plan of what they were going to do, and it started on the first month of the year. Right? Keep reading.
Before Haman, from day to day.
Right.
And from month to month. To the 12th month.
So they're going all year long, going back and forth with different plans and plots and schemes, trying to come up to see exactly how they were going to eliminate this entire people, right? And it was only out of the way he felt. It was only based on his emotion, right? Hop down to verse 12.
Esther chapter 3, verse 12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month.
So now this extends into the next year, right? This is an entire year after this slight happened, right? Mordecai ain't bowed to him then, and he still ain't been bowed. So this is an entire year later, right? Keep going.
And there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants.
Now see, Haman was second only to the king. So then he started giving orders out to the different lieutenants of the king, and prior to this, the king had given him a ring, a seal of the king, right? So he could make orders in the stead of king. Got a question?
So Haman was like the vice president. He was like his right hand man.
Kind. Or as we saw earlier in the Bible, the way Joseph was in Egypt. All right. Keep going.
And to the governors that were over every province. And to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof. And to every people after their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus was it written, and sealed with the king's ring.
See, Haman wrote up these letters. See, this was the plan that they devised. He was going to write these letters in the name of the king and seal it with the ring that the king gave him.
Right.
So these appear to be direct orders from the king himself, but they're from Haman, right? This is one man's vendetta, and he's sending it out to all of these provinces. What I believe was 127 provinces. He's sending it out to all of these provinces, making it appear to be a national issue. When an Edomite feels slighted, they will make it national news.
Right.
Right? They want your head on a spike. All right, keep reading.
Verse 13.
What?
And
Yeah, keep going.
verse 13. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar.
So now this is the beginning of the year, and he's saying this is going to take place at the end of the year. He wants everything in place before his orders are executed, so that way they can be executed all at once. Whereas you see this another time in history when the Roman Catholic Church went to kill the Knights Templar on October 13th. They sent out sealed letters, and they were all opened at the exact same time, and the order was carried out, so no one else knew what was going on up until the moment it happened, right? The letters were sealed until that moment, and then they were to open them. This is the exact same thing that happened here, right? This is what Haman's plan was, right? Keep reading.
And to take the spoil of them for a prey. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people.
So, go ahead.
That they should be ready against that day.
See, now this was something that was sent out, and this was, unlike the other plot, it was made so everyone would know, because they wanted everyone to be against these people, and they wanted everyone to take part in the destruction of the nation of Israel, right? Keep reading.
Verse 15. The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment.
So they thought that this was a commandment from the king, so they rushed this order out. Keep reading.
And the decree was given in Shushan the palace.
Right, so now this order starts to float around the palace. Keep going.
And the king and Haman sat down to drink.
Right.
But the city Shushan was perplexed.
So the city was perplexed, but the palace was, it was just going around the palace, and the king and Haman were sitting down to drink. The city was perplexed because they didn't understand this order. They're like, these people aren't bothering anyone. They're living their life. We have community. Yeah, they believe things differently than we do, but everything is fine here. Like there's no problem here. So the city is perplexed because they don't understand why the king would come against a people who have done nothing wrong in his kingdom. They don't understand that this is the plot of one Edomite, one wicked bastard who felt so slighted that he wasn't bowed to, that he felt the need to kill babies, right? Because someone didn't bow to him, he felt the need to murder infants. This is what our enemy wishes for us to this day. This is not anything that only happened here, right? This happens over and over in our history. Edomites are always trying to eliminate us, right? No matter what position they're in, no matter what position we're in, they want our extinction. So us trying to come together with them, this holiday also should remind us that why we should be separated from our enemies, right? Because no matter what you do, they will want your head. They want you dead. All right? Up to, 4 and 8.
Esther chapter 4 verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them.
So this is Mordecai, giving the copy of the decree to Hatch, who was basically a go-between for Queen Esther, and she was his personal messenger, basically. If you needed to send a message to her, you can't just go up and just walk up and talk to the queen of the largest empire on the planet at the time. You had to send it through, go-betweens, right? Like today, you you won't speak directly to your congressman. You won't speak directly to a senator. You'll speak to their aide first. Then their aide will carry the message, and then maybe you'll set up an actual face-to-face meeting, right? So that's basically what this was. He was sending a letter to Esther. Mordecai was sending a letter to Esther to let her know what was happening, because she had seen him screaming and crying in the streets, and she had no idea what was wrong. And so she sent her messenger to find out what was wrong with him, like what was going on. This is the man that raised her. Why is he outside of the palace screaming in sackcloth and covered in ash? What is going on out there? Right? Keep reading.
To shew it unto Esther.
He wanted to show this letter to Esther so she knew what was happening. Go ahead.
And to declare it unto her.
Mm-hmm.
And to charge her that she should go in unto the king.
So she was commanded to go to the king. So Mordecai was giving her an order. This righteous Israelite who had been over her entire life had given her an order, right? He took her in when her mother and father had passed. She had no mother, she had no father, and he raised her. He treated her well, he supported her, and he is the reason she's actually in the position that she's in, right? And so he gave her a direct order. Keep reading.
To make supplication unto him.
Mm-hmm.
And to make requests before him for her people.
Right. So she was supposed to go in and basically beg. Do whatever she had to do to save the lives of her people, because she was the only one who could get close enough to the king to do such. Mordecai didn't have the power, and no one else in the nation of Israel had that power. But Esther was the only one who did. So Mordecai gave her the direct order to go in and speak to the king. Right? Keep reading.
And is it
Hatash.
And Hatash came and told Esther the words of Mordecai.
So Hatash carried that message to her, right? So she got her order. She knew what she was supposed to do, right? And then she went back. They sent messages back and forth through Hatash, right? And at the time, she was afraid. Going into the king without being called was unheard of, and then defying a direct order. Now, it appeared that direct order came from the king himself. Right. That's how Haman set it up. He set it up to appear that it came directly from the king. So she didn't understand that she was going in there to oppose the king's direct order to his face. So she was afraid, right? Now, Esther proves herself again and again, right, to have some sort of wisdom, right? Because the way she was raised by Mordecai, it instilled some sort of wisdom in her, right? She followed his orders, she did what she was told to do. She may not have understood, she may have had an opposition, but when it came down to it, she followed her orders, right? I down to verse 15, right? Because she just had to figure out exactly what to do. She had to come up with a plan. She had to figure out how she was going to get the king to change his order, right? Read the verse. Yeah, sorry, 15.
Esther chapter 4, verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer.
All right.
Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan.
So she said, go get all of our people that you know that are near here, right? Get everybody local, right? Go ahead.
And fast ye for me.
Right.
And neither eat nor drink 3 days.
Right. So, unlike what the Christians think, when you fast, you don't eat any food or drink any water. You have nothing, right? And she requests that everyone in the palace, and in the city surrounding the palace, to not eat or drink for 3 days. Now, mind you, if you live in Shushan, right, you're not the poor of Israel. You're not scattered in an outlying village, working the field all day. No, you are in in the empire's capital, right? You're more of the well-to-do of Israel, right? So she's asking that not the poor, but the rich of our people, that they fast, that they do not eat or drink, that they sacrifice, right? For what she is about to go and do for her entire nation. Keep reading.
Night or day.
Uh-huh.
I also and my maidens will fast likewise.
I'm not just asking for you to do it.
Right.
I'm going to fast, and every servant I have is going to fast for these 3 days. All of the power of Israel, all of our people at the top, we're going to join together, and we're going to sacrifice for our people. You have something you want to say?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Like, so basically, she wanted to like favor for a favor. Like, y'all want me to do something, I want y'all to do something, and I'm gonna do it along with y'all.
It's partially that, but then it's also partially this. We're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
We're not individuals, right? The rich of our people need to suffer with the poor of our people, right? The rich of our people need to sacrifice with the poor of our people. It doesn't matter your social or financial standing. We're Israel and we're one nation. No one person is above their nation, right? All right, keep reading.
And so will I go in unto the king,
right?
Which is not according to the law,
right?
And if I be perished, I perish.
She said, I'm going to go and break a direct law. I'm going to go into the king without being requested to come in, and if I die, I die. That is a righteousness. That is, and again, you have to remember who she is. She is the queen of the largest empire known to man at this time. The Persian Empire is under her feet, and she's about to risk it, and she's willing to risk it for her nation, right? Our wealthy, our rich do not have this spirit. You know, the spirit that Esther had. We need that on more of our people. We need that on more of our men.
Yeah, right.
Like our men have been so feminized in this society. Our women in the past had more testicular fortitude than our men.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, this is exactly the need for the ISUPK. We need to get our people back to this position. And this strength that she is showing right now is something that our people don't understand to this day. We don't understand that this one, we see that she's strong, right? But she is completely submitted to Mordecai, the righteous Israelite man over her.
Right.
She does what she is told. See, being a quote-unquote independent woman don't make her strong. It's actually the opposite. When she learns how to submit to that man, that righteous man that is over her, that is true strength. That is the strength of a woman, right? All right. We're going to go from there to... Five and 7. See, now the king, she has the nation do this. She has them pray. She has them fast for 3 days, and she does the same thing as well. Now then she goes into the king, and she uses her beauty. She uses everything she has. She uses the way she talks to him. She uses the way she's dressed and smells and walks in there, and she requests an audience for the king at that moment, and then he grants her one, right? And then he just wants to know what she wants. And the way she walked in there and the way she talked to him, even though it was lawful for him to put her to death at that moment, he said, whatever you want, up to half of my kingdom, you can have it. Right? Now let's see what she said.
Esther chapter 5, verse 7. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition.
See, she's already got him to the point where he said, you can have half of the kingdom. And she is still speaking so humbly, so submissively, that anything she says, he's going, that, every brother in here know, your woman come at you the right way, man, you about to cut off your leg if she need it. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, baby. You come to me, please, sir, just, look, whatever it is, yes. Okay? And that's what she did. She used her feminine wiles. She used her wisdom to understand how to handle this situation diplomatically. Right?
So,
Yeah.
like, you remember how we read about Vashti, the queen before her. If Esther would have had that same spirit, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Had that request. She was like, man, doing what the king say. Esther, you know, she put on her feminine vibes and did whatever you want.
And that's another reason why an Israelite woman is better than any other woman on the planet. Because no other woman on the planet would have this spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You right, Vashti came in, all he did was say, look, come in here and show off that beautiful crown I just got you. She's like, nah, good. What? This woman was ordered to, as what she believed, walk into her death, and she did so.
That's right.
Like, that spirit that she had on her, that is righteousness, and she used her wisdom. She fasted, she prayed, she went to the Most High, and had her nation do it with her, right? Keep reading.
And to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king has said.
See, she got her plan starting to work, right? When she was fasting and praying for those 3 days, you know, that's when the Most High will do something for you. When you are willing to sacrifice and give up and follow these laws and commandments, follow the men who are placed above you, and do what you are supposed to do, right? As a man or a woman, right? The most beautiful part about this is, even though Esther was the queen, she did not feel like she had authority over Mordecai, because Mordecai was always that man who was in authority over her, queen or not, right? And this is just such a beautiful example of the submissive Israelite woman doing what she is told to do by the man who has supported her and who has been with her since day one, been with her since she literally had no one. Right? Oh yeah, 8, keep going.
Slug, read verse 9.
9, keep going.
Esther chapter 5, verse 9. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart.
So he was happy. He's like, oh, she getting a party together. And it's for the king, it's for me. She want me and the king to be there. It's a party just for us? Or it's a grand party in our name? This is going to be amazing. Right? So he is happy. He is joyful. Keep reading.
I was about to say, like, another beautiful thing Esther, what she did is, like, she didn't forget her people. You know, most people get in that power, they just forget about their own. They forget where they come from.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, she could have easily said, Mordecai, that was the past, this is the now. I'm under, King Ahasuerus, you know what I'm saying, jurisdiction. I ain't got to do what you say, dude.
God.
She listened to that, brother. That was the spirit of the Lord.
Yeah, right. Keep reading.
Come. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate,
So he's leaving. He just found out he about to have his royal party thrown. He wanted a guest of honor, and then he walk out and he see Mordecai. Go ahead.
that he stood not up, nor moved for him.
Mordecai was sitting out there. He saw Haman. Haman saw him, and Mordecai sat exactly where he was. He did not reverence him. He did not bow to him. He did not move out of his way.
Right.
He like, you have to go around. Keep reading.
He was full of indignation against Mordecai.
So he was fuming, right? He felt so indignation. Do you know what the word indignation means?
It's like wrath and anger, like furious.
That's part of it.
Like he like he wanted to kill him on sight almost.
Kinda.
I mean, like he already did battle before, and now that you at this royal party for the king and his right hand man, you still don't want to bow down. Like, I'm gonna make an example out of that.
That's pretty much that's pretty much it. I'm gonna read the definition for further clarity, right? Indignation, anger or annoyance provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment. He felt like there was no reason in the world that this man should not bow down. He felt like he was wronged, like somebody had done something to him personally. He felt he was treated unfairly because this man would not bow to him, would not reverence him, wouldn't even move out his way when he was sitting on steps. Right? He was fuming. Alright, keep reading.
Verse 10. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself.
See, he kept on that face, right? Yeah, that smile on their face, that just walk by, just keep moving, that he look straight at you. But that man hates you. They want to murder you. Everything in them is screaming at them to try to kill you. But they just keep on that straight face, Keep reading.
And when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh his wife.
So he had heard about this party, and he sent and called for everybody he knew. Yeah, everybody come over my house. We about that. I got something I want to tell you. Got an announcement I want to make. Go ahead.
It's like they had a clan meeting, huh?
God, that's exactly what it is. They had their clan meeting over at his house. Go ahead, keep reading.
And Haman told them of the glory of his riches,
right,
and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him,
right,
and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king.
So he was telling about all the great things, how he was rich, and how he was powerful, and how there was no prince of the king who was over him. He is the greatest in this nation besides the king himself. He wanted to make sure everybody and all of his friends knew it. Go ahead.
So he was bragging and boasting.
God.
He was on the high horse.
So it was his birthday party.
Right.
Basically. It was a worship me party. Look at me. Look at me and all my greatness. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 12. Haman said, moreover,
right,
Esther, the queen, did not let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared, but myself.
See, he still boasted. He's still bragging. The only people that was even allowed in this closed door meeting with the king and the queen was me. I am great. Right? That's what he's saying this for. Keep going.
And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king.
See, he's just boasting on all of his greatness and how this party was made for him. Keep reading.
Verse 13. Yet all this availeth me nothing.
So he said, all of that I just told you, the riches, the power, there is no one greater than me. I am invited to this closed door meeting, and I am a guest of honor at this party hosted by the queen for the king and myself. All of that means nothing. What in the world? Why would that mean nothing? Keep reading.
So long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
So he said, all of that means nothing. Because that nigger's still alive. I need him dead. Like, he's still sitting out here taunting me. The fact that we draw breath annoys them to the point of wanting to commit murder. Go ahead.
It's like that's just the spirit of Esau, man. Like, he's a sore winner. You know what I mean? He can't be a sore loser. When he loses, he got killed. But he's winning. He's the right hand man. You know what I'm saying? The man over the lieutenants, and he just furious at Mordecai all because he didn't bow down to him. You ain't even a king, man. A Ahasuerus is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
He is honestly, he's puffed up over another man's power. He's puffed up over another man's reputation, right? He has this position. The only reason he has this position is because this other man just so happened to pick him. Just so happened, he didn't earn his way into his spot. And Edomites never do. They just somehow get their way into their spot. They weasel and squirm and worm their way into their spot, right? Because here's the thing: had he earned his spot, Mordecai would not have been able to affect him as much.
That's right.
Right? If you earn something, you appreciate it, you value it. But if it was just given to you, you understand that it can just be taken away just as easily. So if you feel like your power is threatened even a little bit because that man won't bow, you cannot allow him to survive because it undermines your entire power base. You don't have a power base built on a record or a history or your work ethic or what you do. Your power is simply there because other people think you have power. It's like it's like money, right? Mm-hmm. Money used to be backed by gold. There was something substantial to back it. Your dollar meant something. Now it's on the fiat currency. The fiat currency is just, we got people and the people work. So our money means something because our people work. There's no actual substance to back it. There's nothing solid, there's no foundation to back that claim. So his power being threatened is something he cannot take because the opinion of others is the only thing that has gotten him to where he is, and that's where his power is based. So that's why all that he has accumulated, all that he has gotten, means nothing if every man does not fear him. Right? Keep going.
Verse 14. Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high.
Right.
And tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
Mm-hmm.
Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
See, so just in case you thought it's just the Edomite man who has it out for you and has the things against you, that Edomite woman is right by his side, supporting and helping him to achieve his goals, right? This is another reason why you need to marry within your own nation.
Right.
These Edomites will stick together. It doesn't matter what you do or what they've done. They're going to stick to their own. So you need to stick to your own, right?
Right.
Let's see. Go ahead and keep reading.
Esther chapter 6, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
On that night could not the king sleep.
Right.
And he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles.
So the king was troubled in his dream, right? Mm-hmm. And, this isn't the first time we've seen the Most High do this, right? The Most High troubled the Hamite king in his dream when he went to take Sarah from Abraham when Abraham said it was his sister, right? The Most High troubled him in his dream, and then the Hamitic king was like, why did you tell me this is your sister and this is your wife, right? So the Most High is troubling this man in his dream for his people, for the nation of Israel, right? Keep reading.
And they were read before the king, and it was found written that Mordecai had told Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus.
See, now, in the second chapter of Esther, Mordecai, before Haman had even gotten in his position, Mordecai had told on two of the guards, two of the 7 chamberlains, the ones who guarded the king's door, who who they were the last line of defense before the king, right? And they plotted to kill the king. And Mordecai unveiled the plot, told Esther, Esther told the king, and they had those two executed, right? Keep reading.
Verse 3. And the king said, what honor and dignity hath been done to Mordecai for this?
So he said, wait a minute. So this is what's troubling me in my dream. What great thing did we do for this man who saved my life?
Right.
Like what did I don't remember the parade we gave that man that stopped me from being murdered in my sleep. What did we do for him? Keep reading.
Then said the king's servants that minister unto him, there is nothing done for him.
I am 1,000% sure that when they said that, the king's face fell. Like, wait a minute. So this man saved my life. Nobody had any idea this plot was going on until this man stepped up and said something about it. He could have kept his mouth shut. I'm his king and his overlord. He's not in his own nation. He's in my nation. And he could have had me killed. Right? He could have had me killed and had his hands clean the entire time because he didn't do it. But he saved my life. And we've done nothing for that man? Like that had to change. He had to do something about that, right? And that happened because Mordecai was a righteous man. Mordecai was an upright man. He followed the laws of the Most High God, right? I want you to get Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7, right? He did what was right because there was no lawful or understandable reason to kill the king. The king was obviously he's a heathen, so he's not righteous. But the king has done nothing wrong. Especially as we read earlier when we saw that the people were surprised that the order was sent out to kill the Jews. They were surprised because they live side by side. Everything's fine. Why would you want to kill them, right? So Mordecai had done something righteous and upright as a man, right? Even though he did it upright and righteously for his oppressor, right? Read that verse.
Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7.
Right.
When a man's ways please the Lord.
So when you do what is right, when you are upright and righteous man, go ahead.
He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Even those who oppress you, even those who are over you, they'll have to be at peace with you. They might want to do something, but they gotta let you go. You're righteous. You are a man of the Most High. Like with Commander General, right? When he went and took his case before the Supreme Court for us speaking on the street, right? The Supreme Court had to agree with us. The Supreme Court heard us calling the white man is the devil according to the Bible, and they went, well, that's what the Bible said. Well, if white man is evil and evil is the devil in the Bible, well, then the white man will be the devil. And they couldn't refute it. They couldn't reject or deny the truth. Right? That's what happens when you're a righteous man. That's what happens when you're upright with the Most High. He will intervene for you. Your righteousness will be what you are judged on, right? All right, back to Esther 6 and 10, right?
Slug,
Go ahead.
Good.
Go ahead.
I remember Captain Mashak said something heavy. He was like, our salvation comes from our obedience.
God.
That scripture right there is proof. When you obey the Lord, He is on your side.
God.
Now, you can do anything, man.
Yeah, right.
That's heavy.
God. All right, now so again, so the king found out about this, right? He found out about what Mordecai did, what that righteous man did, and he said, you know what, I need to honor him. I need to do something for that man. That is why I could not sleep. because I did not honor a man who saved my life. So we're going to do, and then like when after he had woke up, he had heard someone in the courtyard. He said, "Who's in the courtyard?" It was Haman, and he said, "Good, Haman's here." He thought it was perfect timing because Haman was his chief advisor, right? And he just realized he needed to correct this wrong, so he asked his chief advisor, right? Actually, hop up to, let's see.
Yeah, verse 4.
Hop up to 7.
Esther chapter 6, verse 7. And Haman answered the king.
So the king asked Haman, what should I do? Of course, the king didn't name a name at first. He said, "What should I do to honor a man who delights me, who has done something that I am so grateful and just amazed at? What can I do to honor such a man?" Right? Go ahead, read.
For the man whom the king delighted to honor.
Right? The king is happy to honor this man. It is a pleasure for the king to give this man honor. Right? What should I do for him? Go ahead.
Let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear. And the horse that the king rideth upon. And the crown royal which is set upon his head.
So he said, look, give him the royal garments, give him the royal horse, give him the royal crown. Dress him exactly as you dress yourself. Give him all the luxury and glory that you have yourself. Because Haman, being that he was second only to the king, thought that the king was talking about him. Thought that basically the king was doing a roundabout way of asking him, what should I do to honor you? Especially because he had just come from that meeting earlier that day about being at the party that Esther was going to throw with the kings. So he was like, okay, this party is to honor me. This is what this is about. Forget the king, forget it being with the queen. This party is for my honor and for my glory. Right? So he said, dress that man like the king, treat him like the king, and then adorn him in the greatest apparel that you have. Give him everything that is the best. Hop down to verse 10.
Esther chapter 6, verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste.
He said, hey, hurry up. Get what you just said done. Go ahead.
And take the apparel and the horse.
Do exactly. Get the clothes, get the ride, of course, horses were the cars, the transportation. Get the best ride in the kingdom. Get the baddest outfit in the kingdom. Go ahead.
And thou hast said, and thou hast, and as thou hast said.
So do exactly what you said. Keep going.
And do even so to Mordecai the Jew.
Haman's face fell on the floor. Because Haman, the only reason Haman was there was because Haman was coming to the king to get the king to sign a decree to kill Mordecai for that slight he had just had earlier that day. Because he wouldn't move from in front of him at the steps. He was coming back to, like his wife told him to do, to hang him. And now the king just told him, yeah, that man that I'd like to honor, that's Mordecai. Get all of that and do that for that man that you want dead. Right? Keep reading.
That sitteth at the king's gate, lest nothing fail of all that has spoken.
So the king said, everything you said, every word that just came out of your mouth, everything you said to give honor and glory to that man, make sure it happens to Mordecai. See, this is the Most High flipping everything completely upside down. Right. When you are a righteous and upright man, every single thing your enemy plans for you will be turned on them. Right? Keep reading. That's Slack. Go ahead and hop to 11. I mean, Slack 12.
Esther chapter 6, verse 12. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate. But Haman hasted to his house mourning, and having his head covered.
So Haman, well, it's like Mordecai, he came back up to the king's gate where he always was, and Mordecai ran. He took off with his head covered and crying like a baby because he just realized and just found out all of his plans, everything he had plotted to do for that last entire year is all gone now. And that man and those people that he planned to kill, the king is planning to honor. Right? Go ahead, keep reading.
And Haman told Zeresh his wife,
right,
and all his friends everything that had befallen him.
So he called another clan meeting, and he told them, and he gave them an update.
Right.
Yeah, that plan we just had, it's a problem with it now. Right? Keep reading.
Then said his wise man and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him.
His wife was like, you in trouble, dog. If that man that's about to get honored is the same people that you've been campaigning to kill, yeah, you might not survive this one. I don't know what to tell you, but it might be over. Right? Keep reading.
This got me. Y'all ever seen that movie Black Klansman?
You
remember the devil wife was like, yeah, that nigger, she's stirring up the student rebellion. We need to shut her mouth. So they set up a plan to blow her car up.
Mm-hmm.
They set the wife was supposed to go set the bomb. She did that, right? But the black cop apprehended her. So when they come to blow up the car, they thought that she blew up the house, set the bomb on the house. She set it on the car, so they put her right next to the car and blew up. Like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That whole plan.
Whole plan, right?
This is what's happening right here.
God. Now keep reading.
Esther chapter 6, verse 14.
And
while they were yet talking with him.
So while this conversation is going on, while they're saying, look, you might want to get out of here because it's not going to end up good for you. While that was going on, go ahead.
Came in the king's chamberlain.
Now those two guards that Mordecai caught were gone. And so now he had two more guards to replace him. Yeah, those two guards walked in. The king's two head personal guards walked in. Right? Keep going.
And hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
They hurried. Hasten means to hurry, to go fast. They hurried. Look, we got to get to this banquet, and we're going to the banquet now. Haman is, at this point, watching every single thing he did come back on him all at once. And this man is panicking. Right? He does not know what to do. He's completely lost. He thought he had a plan. He thought he had the children of Israel right where he wanted them. And the Most High just wants one troubled night of sleeping. That's all it took for the Most High to turn everything on his head. Right? Alright, that was 6. 7 and 3, because this is at the party, right? And the king still hasn't gotten an answer from Esther on what she wanted. She just said, look, we'll talk about it at the party, but I want to set up a party. Let's set up this party, and we'll take care of it then, right? Again, Esther was trained as a diplomat, right? She was trained in verbal tactics. Right? She was trained in how to deal and how to set a situation just right. See, she got Haman excited, ready to get to this party, and then when she's there, she still has the king on every single word that she has because he still doesn't know what his wife the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, wants to tell him. So he just can't wait. Let's see, to tell this part. He asked her again for like I think it was the third or the fourth time. Please, just what is it that you want? Right? You threw this party, great. Now, what is it that you want? Go ahead and read.
Esther chapter 7, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king.
So she again is coming humbly, right? She's coming in a very submissive tone. She's using very docile words. She is speaking to this man sweetly, right, and directly. She's not beating around the bush. She is giving the king the flattery a king should get. Just like any woman out there understands how to get anything out of their man if they really want to. They know how to do it. They choose not to a decent portion of the time, but they know exactly how to get everything they want out of that man. Right? So she was talking to him just the way the king wanted to be talked to, right? Keep reading.
Let my life be given me at my petition.
So she is saying, my petition is that you grant me my life. That you allow me to live. Right? Keep reading.
And my people at my request.
And my people, my request is that you allow me and my people to live. Can I live? Is that it? His wife is sitting there begging him for her life. He's confused. He doesn't understand what's going on. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 4. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain,
right,
and to perish.
So she understands that she's telling this king that, we're going to be killed, we're going to be murdered, we're going to die, right? Please just allow us to live. Hop down to verse 5.
Esther chapter 7, verse 5. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he, and where is he?
So who is this person that is threatening your life? Where is he? What? Like, he's getting upset. Like, what? Who is threatening my wife? Go ahead.
That durst presume in his heart to do so.
Who in their right mind has the unmitigated gall to think that they gonna take my wife from me? Who's going to try to murder my wife and all of her people? Right? Keep reading.
And Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
See, she got him hyped up. She got him riled up. She got him right at the point of, I'm about to, where he at? Point him out. Tell me who that man is. He pointed right at him. Him, Haman. He tried to murder all of us. The fury in that king, right? His wife has stoked something in him, and it made him furious, right? Keep reading.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Everything fell out. The bottom dropped out right there. He saw it coming. The guards as soon as he saw it coming, the guards dragged him back, and then he was just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it was right there. Esther dropped it down right on him, right there, and he knew at that moment he was dead. He was dead, right? And so then what he starts doing is he tries to start trying to talk himself out of that punishment he about to get. But no dice, right? The Most High had other plans. You come for his people, your life is forfeit, right? And then while he was begging and pleading for his life, one of the king's servants walked up, put a sack over his head, and took him off. And they hung him on those very gallows that he had for the children of Israel. Right?
That's right.
Now, how to the next chapter? Start at the first verse.
Esther chapter 8, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews' enemy unto Esther the queen.
So, on that day that he hung Haman, every possession that Haman had, he gave it to his queen. That man wanted your life here. You have, first I take his and I give you everything that he ever had. Those riches, that wealth, that power, all of it now belongs to you, right? Keep reading.
And Mordecai came before the king.
Right, Mordecai, that man who had saved the king over a year ago, he came to the king, right? After this plot had been uncovered to kill the king's wife and the savior of the king's life. This man wanted to kill two of the most important people to the king. And the king had no idea up until that moment, right when Esther dropped a dime on him at that party, right? Keep reading.
For Esther had told what he was unto her.
So then Esther was like, yeah, not only is this man the man that saved your life, he also raised me. This is, in effect, my father. This is the man who brought me up my whole life. This is the man who's taking care of me. And this is the man who's advised me on every decision I made. She told the king who he was, right? Keep reading.
And the king took off his ring.
So he took off that ring that he had gave. Okay, keep reading.
Which he had taken from Haman.
Right, so that ring that the king had given Haman, that was the power of the king. That signet, like this is the signet of our nation, right? This is the seal or the shield of David, right?
Right?
This was his signature. This was what he used to sign things. So the king's ring, that with his signet on it, he took that ring off of Haman's finger after he hung him. Go ahead.
And gave it unto Mordecai.
So now Mordecai was the second only to the king, right? Keep reading.
And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
So now Esther had taken what she got from the king and gave it to Mordecai. And now Mordecai, the man who Haman wanted to kill, was in control of all of Haman's estate, right? Now, what this is a perfect example of is, this is our oppressor society, right? And in our oppressor society, sometimes our women rise higher than our men in their society. Our women, for our nation to be saved, for our nation to survive, our women need to understand their place. And our men need to support our women in the positions they have in this kingdom, right? If your woman is a lawyer, don't tell her, well, you a lawyer, so you make more money than I have, so you got to go work at McDonald's so I can feel like a man. Like, that doesn't make sense. Support her in that. And still rule your household, right? That's what we have to understand. We have to understand how to support our households and run our households, regardless of what our oppressor says and the positions our oppressor has us in their kingdom, right? This is a time to remember that our way of life and our structure, even in oppression, will cause our people to flourish and survive. Not just survive, to excel above all people.
Damn right.
Because that is our only problem. We don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Therefore, everything is taken from us. We cannot be who we're supposed to be. We see what happens when these people follow the law. We see what happens when we fast and pray. We see what happens when a woman, no matter the position that she's been given in our oppressive society, understands her role. And what happens when a man understands and leads and guides that woman correctly. Right? Hop down to verse 6.
Esther chapter 8, verse 6.
Right? Because Esther wasn't done. And yeah, Esther had heaven and everything that he owned, but Esther wasn't done. Keep going.
For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people?
See, now she was safe. Mordecai was safe. But that order the king sent out was still against her people. She had nothing to worry about. She had nothing to fear. But her people were still in trouble. Right? How can I endure this evil that is about to go against my people? Right? Keep reading.
Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred?
That's my family. That is my blood. How can I survive watching them be murdered, watching them be caused harm to because of this order he put out, right? Fuck it. Let's see. And of course, the king decided to reverse that for her because there's no way he could allow that. There's no way he could allow her people to be destroyed because of this wicked man. He saw firsthand exactly how wicked this Edomite was, how deceiving and conniving he was. And this order that was put out was against these people for no other reason than offending this wicked man. Right? Hop down to verse 11.
Esther chapter 8, verse 11.
Uh-huh.
Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together.
Right.
And to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause perish to all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women.
So they said, listen, those people Haman got together, those people who he riled up against you, anybody that decides they still want to stand on that side, man, woman, child, put them to death. Anybody in my nation against the children of Israel, they need to die.
Right.
See, this is what happens when you follow the will of the Most High God. Your enemies become your allies because they don't want to offend your God. They see exactly the power of your God. Why? Because this man stopped a plot against my life. This woman has, as we see, he listens to her. So she's advised me in a way that I can respect and believe in. Something that is valuable to me. She's not just a beautiful woman. She is more than that. And these people are trying to take that away from me. These people are against me. They're against my nation when you start to come against these people who would save my life, right? All right, hop to the 9 and 2.
Esther chapter 9, verse 2. The Jews gathered themselves together.
So our people came together, right? Keep going.
In their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
Right.
To lay hand on such as sought their hurt.
So we gathered ourselves together in every province to lay hands. And as right here, we see that our people took our retribution righteously. Haman wanted to kill the entire nation of people because of one man's slight. We only laid hands on those who sought to hurt us. We didn't kill everybody.
Right.
Only the people who were against us. Just like today in this society, we're not against the Edomites because we just against them. We're against those who seek to hurt us. We are defending ourselves.
Right.
All we want is to be defended and to have justice. We just want justice for the crimes that have been committed against us, right? That is the difference between the way we do things and our enemy does things. Our enemy does not care. They don't care if you've done nothing or if you've done anything. They just want us dead, right? Keep reading.
And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people.
So the fear of us, the fear of the nation of Israel rising up and slaughtering those to hurt us, that fell on everybody who was in the entire kingdom, which was the known world at that, well, most of the known world at that time, except for Greece. Eastern Europe was the only thing stopping that was the only thing that was not in this purview, right? This is from India all the way up to Greece, all the way back across Asia. This is a massive empire. And in every province, anybody that sought to hurt us was put to the sword that day. Right? Hop down to verse 13.
Esther chapter 9, verse 13.
Uh-huh.
Then said Esther, if it please the king.
Now, Esther still wasn't done. She had one more thing she needed to get done, right? Keep reading.
Let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according to this day's decree.
So, let us do tomorrow. Let us do this tomorrow. What I'm going to say right now. So, whatever this decree we're going to make right now, don't let it, let's not set this for a month from now. Let's not set this for a year from now. We're going to say it today, and it's going to be done tomorrow, right? Keep reading.
And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
See, Esther was willing to do what Saul wasn't willing to do.
Right.
She wanted to wipe out every single member of that family. Every Amalekite she could find, every Agagite she could find, she wanted them dead and hanged at her order. Right? This is what happens when you follow orders. This is what happens when you stick to the order that a righteous man who's above you gives you. Right? Even if you are afraid for your life to follow that order. You pray, you fast, but you do it. And if you die, you die. Because when you are willing to give that much faith to the Most High, you will only be rewarded for it. That is the only way we can get the kingdom. That is the only way our nation can come together. When we say, look, if following this order, if I have to sacrifice my life to follow this order, then my life isn't worth that much. Right. My life is not worth enough to keep my people in this condition. Right? And Esther had a spirit, again, like I said, that most of our brothers, especially in the world, do not have today. They don't have the testicular fortitude to stand up for their people at the cost of their own life.
Right.
Right? And that is what we remember on these high holy days. See,
right.
A part of this high holy day is giving gifts. You know what I mean? It's taking care of the poor. This is the season for giving. Why? Because we see what happens when we are willing to give of ourselves for our people. See, and that is one of the reasons why our holy days are so much better than the holidays of the world. There's a meaning behind them. There is a reason we do this, right? You ask somebody why they celebrate Christmas, they will give you 12 different reasons. And as soon as you tell, well, we celebrate the birth of Christ. Well, he wasn't born around this time. Well, it's really not about that. They have no true reason and no true meaning behind anything they do. In here, in the truth, following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, there's a reason for everything we do, right? And we celebrate this holiday every year to remember these acts, to remember the acts, and to remember what happens when not only all of our people come together against our enemy, but the rich of our people, the entire nation, the wealthy of our people decide that, you know what, enough is enough. We will sacrifice and we will give up so that way our nation can survive, right? All right, and I see we are at the time. With that, Shalom, Israel.